Alright, here we go, guys. Sports Talk 28's top 10 players in the NBA today. At number 10, the New York Knicks small forward Carmelo Anthony. A guy who's just, pure shooter. A guy who can, score 27 points a game, rip down 10 boards. People think of Carmelo Anthony as just a guy who can only score, and that's more like a James Harden. Carmelo Anthony can also he can rebound the basketball extremely well. At number 9, the San Antonio Spurs center, Tim Duncan. The only reason I have him at 9 is really based off legacy and the fact that they're still winning championships and he is still seen as a franchise player. So the fact that they are still winning championships and having the best regular season record in the NBA, how could you not put their franchise player on this list? Number 8, San Antonio Spurs point guard Tony Parker. And a lot of people argue this one, he only averages like 17 points a game and like 8 assists or whatever. But man, when you watch him in the finals, he is so dominant. He has led to 4 rings in San Antonio. He wasn't there for all 5 like Tim Duncan was, but he was there for 4 of them. And man, has he been so important to them. And he is just a huge part of that Spurs team. Number 7, a guy who can make shots that will make your jaw drop. He can score from really anywhere on the basketball court, whether it's 10 feet behind the three-point line, a layup while falling down, or a completely off-balance jumper. Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors is number 7 on this list, just because the way he can score sometimes will just make you go, what? Did that really just go in? Number 6, the LA Clippers point guard, Chris Paul, CP3. A guy who's just a great point guard. He always has the ball in his hands, it seems. He's great at throwing lobs. He's great at passing. A guy who can, 18 points, 12 assists a game with 3 steals is pretty reasonable for him. He's extremely talented. His dribble skills are great. Other people might call that handles. He's great at swiping the ball from other people while they're dribbling. And that's why Chris Paul is number 6 on this list. Number 5, another controversial one. Dwight Howard, the Houston Rockets center. A guy who can, get 17.5 points in a game with 17.5 points a game with 12 rebounds and 2.5 blocks. There's not many prototypical dominant centers in the league today. That's why he's number 5. If you look at a center who plays like a center, who plays not as dominant as, but similar to the greats like Kareem, Wilt, Bill Russell. I mean, he plays sort of like them, He reminds me of Shaq a little bit, Dwight. Obviously, Dwight's not nearly as powerful as Shaq was. Shaq was 2 inches taller and almost 100 pounds heavier, but Dwight Howard is 6'11", 265, and he is absolutely solid muscle. And he is just a force down low. He is extremely athletic for his size. He's extremely strong for his position, and that's why he's number 5 on this list. Number 4 is the point guard from the Oklahoma City Thunder, Russell Westbrook. The reason he's on here is because he is one of the best athletes in basketball history, honestly. Some people say he's the best athlete at the point guard position ever. He's obviously had injury troubles, but unlike Derrick Rose, when Russell Westbrook came back, he went back to being Russell Westbrook. Derrick Rose came back, and it was just like, wait, where does explosiveness go? Russell Westbrook comes back, and it's, oh, good, Russell Westbrook's back. There was really not much lost with him, as there was with other players who came back from injuries like that, like Derrick Rose of the Chicago Bulls. But yeah, but Westbrook is just, when he's on, when he goes to the net full force, he's just so fast. He can even step back and hit a 3. When he's hot, he's unstoppable. The issue is sometimes he can get cold and then he starts shooting too much. Really, if he was hot every game, he'd be the second best player in the league. But the issue is he's not. Number 3 is the small forward from the Indiana Pacers, Paul George. A lockdown defender, a fabulous athlete, a guy who has hit big shots in the playoffs, even though he has failed to reach an NBA Finals so far. He's lost multiple times to LeBron's Heat, but I mean, he can lock down really on anybody except for LeBron, I guess you could say. But a guy who could, I think he would benefit from adding some size to his frame. I think that would help him defend guys like LeBron and other guys who are a little bit stronger than him, who can take him down into the post. But yeah, Paul George, fantastic athlete. He's hit some big shots and great defender. That's why he's on here. He's the best player on one of the best teams in basketball. That's another thing you got to remember. Number 2 is Oklahoma City's Kevin Durant, the Kia MVP from this season. Kevin Durant averaged over 30 points a game. He creates a complete mismatch for people because his length allows him to really shoot over anybody, which means he can pull up from anywhere. So he can, take so many shots a game because he has that ability to be able to shoot with his length. And he's very lanky. I think that helps him with the shooting. And when he also is good at finishing near the net. A lot of times when the Thunder are on fast break, he'll be the one to finish it home with a dunk. Number 1 is the best player in the world, this guy, who has nailed a small forward for the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James. I mean, you've heard me talk about LeBron before. I mean, he's the biggest physical mismatch ever on a basketball court. He's 6'8", 255 pounds, and he can move like the wind. He explodes off the ground. He is just, I mean, when he starts driving to the net, he's unstoppable. You're either going to foul him hard and send him to the line, which there's a good chance he still finishes, or he's going to finish, get an and one, or just finish in general. And he is a very good shooter. He improved his jump shot a lot. His shooting percentage was over 60% this year. He didn't make first team all defense, even though he should have, because he can really lock down on any small forward, shooting guard, or point guard in the league. We saw in the finals when they switched LeBron to defend Tony Parker. He absolutely shut Tony Parker down. The issue was Mario Chalmers couldn't guard me if I was playing against him. I mean, that's how bad Chalmers was defending. He was letting, Ginobili and Patty Mills go right by him. As soon as they pierce the paint, then then the Heat are down a guy, really, because then they're driving towards the lane, and somebody's going to be open, whether it's Duncan or Diaz. So it was really an issue, because whoever you put LeBron on, he's going to lock down. But, that's one player. The Spurs can beat you with anybody, and that's why the Heat couldn't beat the Spurs this year. But anyway, guys, that's my top 10 players in the NBA. Please subscribe for my contest, which I'm giving away a Stitch Dark Jeter jersey. And I'm out.